Hi everyone. So today I wanted to do a pen collection video. I love fountain pens. I think for me, fountain pens and journaling kind of went in hand, as in like I was always a journaler, but once I got into fountain pens, it made the experience more exciting. And I do feel like getting into fountain pens is what helped me be consistent at journaling. I just don't feel like I would have enjoyed journaling as much if I didn't find like a writing tool that works for me. So I just want to share. But also, was it like last weekend? Anyway, some time ago, I went to the Philly pen show with May, and I was pretty determined to buy a new pen, but I didn't. And I think it's because I felt really guilty about the amount of pens that I have. And I don't know why, because I love collecting things, like I love collecting charms, I love collecting blind boxes, I have too many bags, and all these things. Like, I know that I like hoarding stuff, but for whatever reason with pens, I feel like I've reached like a natural stopping point in terms of the amount that I have. And I think I also feel that way because I have multiples of the same pen in different colorways. So it's not that I'm bored, I just feel guilty for not using them. So I thought it'd be great for me to go over what I have currently, what I want to let go of, and then what I want to add. So yeah, I'm gonna do it by brands, right? Companies. And this is not organized well, so I'm just going to pull it out for you. Oh, but if you were curious, this is Muji's acrylic case in the smaller size, and it's lined with, let me show you. It's lined with this like plastic that you can just cut, but the inside is like almost like a faux suede. It's definitely not suede, but it's like soft enough that I wouldn't worry about my pen scratching up against it. And you're gonna see that I don't treat my pens the best. And it's not that I don't care about them, it's just that, again, for me, I think I'm less of a collector, more of a, like, I wanna try all the brands, all the different types of nibs. So I guess I'm more of a collector that way. I want to have one of everything, but seeing my collection and seeing that I have more than one of each pen is making me feel like I don't need that. So let me get started. I'm gonna start with something that might be controversial. Maybe not really, but it's because I know that there's a lot of people who love Kawecos. And for me, I have a weird relationship with them. So this is the Kaweco Sport. This is iridescent pearl. I feel like this is probably one of the first, no, this has to be the first Kaweco I bought. And obviously I bought it because it's so pretty. My biggest problem with this pen is that it's too light. And it's weird to say, but for some reason with this pen, when I write with it, I find myself gripping the pen a lot harder than I do with other pens. So my hands cramp when I use this pen for too long. And for that reason, I don't really gravitate towards it, even though I think it's really, really pretty. I do like the colors that Kaweco comes out with. It's just, I don't know, I just think it's too light. So I really, again, I get FOMO with pens, and if someone likes it, I want to feel that love. So I got the brass. And the brass I think has a really fun, like, more industrious, is that a good word for it? Like, it has a cool look. Like, it has a look that I like, and I got it because I thought it would look good with my travelers. But this has the opposite problem. It's too heavy. And my hand also cramps. But maybe I just need to work out my hands or something. I don't know. But my hand also cramps by the weight of this pen. And I also don't like the way that metal smells. It's something I didn't consider when I was buying this pen, that your hands, it smells because it's raw metal, it's brass. But I like that it patinas. Like, there's things that I like about it. It's just that, again, I'm not using it. So I'm trying to, like, can I justify having it if I'm not, like, collecting them, right? I don't know. So my last Kaweco Sport, this is a really Goldilocks situation. This is the aluminum. This is the Hello Kitty Taiwan anniversary pen. I think it's the 25th anniversary pen. It is such a pretty pen. I like how feminine the color is, which is why I got it. And I'm not gonna lie, out of all three of them, the aluminum does feel the best in my hands. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. I think it feels more substantial than the plastic. But this is my biggest gripe with Kaweco, and you're gonna see that with some other pens, is that for some reason I just have terrible luck. For Kaweco especially, I just get a lot of like duds. Like I've gotten nibs that just don't work at all. For this pen, it only comes in a fine, and the nib has the Hello Kitty engraving. I think it's laser engraved. Yeah, you see that Hello Kitty laser engraved? So for this one, it was hard for me to buy a new nib because it wouldn't be the Hello Kitty nib, you know? And it was weird because this one I got it in a fine, and this one actually writes well. But it did feel bad to pay a lot of money for a Hello Kitty pen and for it to not work that well. And even though, like, I know that I can get it tuned professionally and it will work, I think it left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm gonna do another German brand. Right, Kaweco's German, right? Yeah, I think Kaweco's German. Which is Lamy. And Lamy, I've had the complete opposite experience with, which is I love them. And I know that a lot of people might not like Lamys because they have forced you to have that traditional grip. Well, I guess they don't like the Lamy Safaris, right? Maybe they like the Lamy Studios, but maybe they just don't like that they force you to have this grip. This is my first Lamy. This is the Lamy Cream. I also have the Lamy Strawberry. These came out together in a collection one year. I got this one first. I eventually added the Strawberry later. But this pen, yeah, I love this pen. This is probably the steel nib pen that I use the most. I just have a really good time writing with this pen. I think balance is great. I could do it like posted, not posted, it's fine. I love the cream color, and I think I love brown ink, so that's probably what helps me use this pen a lot, is that it just looks good together. And I definitely I'm trying not to be anal about the fact that my ink doesn't match the pen, but for this one it's easy because the brown looks so good with this cream. So it's the cream, and then this is the strawberry. And again, while I'm trying not to have so many pens of the same, like it's the same pen, just different color, this one I don't see myself ever getting rid of. Also, I like burnt it weird. Do you see that line, like that brown line down the middle? I don't know how it got there, but I like burnt this cap somewhere. Either way, I like it. I don't see myself getting rid of it. This pen I got because I was experimenting with red pigment inks, and I just didn't want to risk that, like an issue with pigment ink with any other pen. So I was like, oh, good excuse to get a new Lamy. So this is the pen that I bought. So probably the most special pen that I have, like sentimental to me, is probably this one. This is Lamy's spring collection. I don't remember the year, but they came out with a pink, a blue, and a green. And it's my friendship pen with Selena. And I feel so lucky to have this pen. Just because I feel like, I don't know, it holds a lot of good memories. I love Selena, obviously. And it was like the first time I've made a friendship pen with anyone. So it felt just so sentimental. And I feel like it looks like a flower. Like it's such a good spring pen. And actually my cat bit this pen. Do you see that little bite mark? It's on the back too. He like took a little nibble on it, and I honestly thought that would annoy me, but it just makes this pen even more special, you know? Like, my cat doesn't give a shit about my pens, but for some reason he likes this one. So it's like just a bunch of things that I love into one pen. So even though I know I'm trying not to have so many pens, and in all honesty, I probably use this one the most. I think these two I would never get rid of, and this one I have like a use for it, so I can just justify it that way. Like, I will use it if I get back into pigment inks again. So I'm gonna keep all three. Yeah. Okay. The next brand is the brand that made me really reevaluate my life. Like, I knew I had to get rid of them because for me personally, there was no reason for me to have this many, and that's Twsbi. So, I have 7 Twsbis, and I know that people like to collect the ecos, and I think their collection is beautiful. There are some eco colors that I know is very highly coveted that I would also want, like the baby pink and the jades, but I'm also okay with never getting them, if that makes sense. Like, I have an eco, so I'm okay not getting more ecos. So I'm gonna start in, maybe I'll do the order I got them in. Yeah. So this Twsbi, this is the glow in the dark Twsbi Eco, and this is the first, I think, big pen purchase I've made. Before this pen, I had the Pilot Kakunos, and they're great. It's just that my personal gripe with the Kakunos is that the barrel, for whatever reason, actually, let me show you this one. It's very similar experience-wise for me with the Twsbi Go, where it kind of like just jumps off here by the nib, and I hold my pen really close to the edge, so this was like super uncomfortable, and I felt the same way about my Kakunos, but I love the writing experience of the Kakunos. So this was the big pen purchase that I've made after falling in love with fountain pens. And it's funny looking back now because I thought $30, like this is like $32.99 for a fountain pen or like a pen was kind of insane, but like look at me now. I don't know. But the reason why I got this colorway is I thought the glow in the dark was really cool, because I don't know, sometimes glow in the dark is really gimmicky, but this one really does glow. Like I can find this one in a bag. But also this made me like really reminiscent of like my childhood in Korea, where like instead of signing stuff, you get like a stamp, right, with your signature on it. Like it's like, yeah, it's like your identification anyway. But it looks like, you know, like with the red Twsbi sign on top, it kind of reminded me of like the stamps, and that's kind of what made me fall in love with it. This pen's gone through so much, as in I get really anal about cleaning pens. And this one, while I was cleaning the nib, I like take it out, I soak everything. While I was cleaning the nib fell down the drain. Oh my god. And that was heartbreaking. So I ended up buying the Twsbi mini nib replacements. And the first time I tried to pull one of those out, I collapsed all the fins on that nib. And that was useless. So I had to get another one, and I had to buy like rubber grips for those. I don't know, it was a mess. But my advice is, if you're looking for a nib replacement for Twsbi Ecos, the best option money-wise is just to get a Twsbi Go. I'm sure everyone knows this. It's cheaper than buying the Twsbi mini nib replacements. The mini, the Go, the Swipe, and the Eco, they all use a number 4 Yovo nib. This is like $18, and you just pull this guy out, you know? It's like, if you needed a nib replacement, that's what I would do, which is why I have this pen. I don't like writing with it, again, just because of this like little grip section, but I wanted to try all the nib sizes, and that's kind of why I have this clear Go. This is the last purchase I made, so after this one, I bought the mini. And honestly, I probably could have stopped here because this pen is actually perfect. I love this pen. This pocket pen is kind of what makes me okay with letting go of the Kawecos, because they kind of fill the same purpose of their portable pocket pens. But anyway, that's kind of why I'm okay with letting go of the Kawecos, because I feel like this mini does the job much better for me. But I'm letting this one go because the next pen that I bought was, I'm pretty sure this color is mint. This is the same pen. This is the Twsbi mini, but this one has that beautiful like aluminum mint color. And I don't need both pens. I think, yeah, I don't need both pens. I only need one, and this pen is so beautiful. I really like this color. So I'm gonna just keep this one. The sweet thing about this one is that I actually found it. This was like, I think like an old sampler or a tester in Yoseka, and I basically asked for permission to buy this pen, and I think I got it as my birthday pen that year. So last year this was my birthday pen, and it's also just, I love this color obviously, but Alex, who was my old coworker, had this exact same pen, and I feel like every time I use it I like think about them, you know? So more sentimental reasons to keep it. Okay. Oh, I think I skipped order. So I actually also got this. I got this Twsbi. This is the Eco Tea. I got this at the Philly Pen Show last year, and I got it just because I wanted to see if I would like the tea, like the triangular grip. Because again, I love the Lamys, and I thought that maybe I would like the tea better than the regular Eco, and I don't. It's kind of whatever. It's the same, but I got it for a really good price. I think I got it for like $20. So it was just like a good price for me to just try and see if I like the tea, but I don't really care. Also, I don't really care for this color. Like, the color is pretty, but it doesn't like mean anything to me, and I already have this Eco, so I'm also just gonna, I'm okay letting this one go. Yeah. The next pen I got was, this one is quite recent because it is last year. This is the color that came out last year in 2024. This is Iceberg, and I definitely got it because of this colorway. I think this color is so pretty. But the tragic thing, actually, let me give you a color comparison first. So this is Iceberg, and I'm pretty sure this is mint. They're very close. It's just this one has a little bit more, it's more green leaning, like seafoam leaning. But the reason, wait, which cap is it? I'm super anal about cleaning them, right? And because I had already mastered getting the nib out of the subsection of the minis, again, I didn't. I thought I could do the same thing with this one, and actually, if you see, there's like a tooth that's loose. Do you see that? There's like a tooth loose. So I also ruined this nib, and I don't know, when will I learn my lesson? And because I messed up the tooth on this, I haven't used it in a while. I got the 580 just because I wanted to see if I would prefer this size over the mini, but in all honesty, I don't really like the way that this pen caps. It's too heavy, it doesn't fit that well, and I kind of also like end up twisting the piston. So I'm also okay with letting go of this pen. Again, it's beautiful. I think if any part of me was like into the, like if I wanted a nice collection, I could see myself keeping this pen, but functionally it doesn't add anything new that I don't already have. So I'm gonna also let go of this one. Okay, my last Twsbi. My last Twsbi is, this is the Twsbi Diamond 5, no. VAC 700R? Yeah, VAC 700R. This one is also a newer color. I'm pretty sure it also came out last year, Kyanite. This was actually a gift, but because it's a gift, I treasure it forever. I don't, again, I'm not a collector in the sense that I want every color, but I am a collector in the sense that if it's sentimental to me in like the tiniest bit, I'll keep it. The only reason I don't use this pen is because it's abroad, but I really appreciate this pen because, and I guess that kind of explains my mentality of like FOMO and trying to use all the pens, is that when I was working at Kaweco, I felt like a lot of my knowledge came from using the pens myself, right? And I don't have a vac in my collection besides this one, so I think this really helped me understand how vacs work and who it might be good for, yada yada. Personally, I think vacs are quite annoying to use because I really like just sitting writing right away. Like, this is just like you have to open the pen and then screw it, and it's a lot of steps, but I'm sentimental about this pen. I like that it taught me about vacs. It's a gift, so I don't see myself getting rid of any of these pens, honestly, ever. Yeah. I'm gonna keep these 3. I'm also gonna keep this Go. Again, I don't use it, but I'm just kind of keeping it for the spare nib. And I hope that's a good enough reason to keep it. I think I have a couple more steel nibs before I get into gold. Oh, this is a one-off. This one is Sailor's Prophet Jr. This is the Mizutama pen. And, okay, this is wasteful. At the time that I bought this pen, a lot of places were sold out of this collection. I kind of got into it a little bit too late. And I really wanted the ink color that came with this pen. I think it's a milk tea color. I could be wrong. Let me do some research afterwards. But I think I would have preferred buying the trio of ink than buying the pen and the ink. But, you know, it's fine. I like the ink color, but I don't really like using this pen. This is a Sailor MF, but now that I have a couple of Sailors and I have a Sailor MF, I feel like this one doesn't really compare, which is unfair because this is a steel nib. But I have steel nibs that I love. Like, I love the Preppy, I love the Lamy, and I love my Twsbi. I don't know why I don't love the way this one writes, and maybe it's another pen that can be tuned, but for me, this doesn't really, I don't have any connection to this pen. I feel nothing, so I'm also okay letting go of this one. Yeah. Okay, so my last 2 steel nibs are my Preppies. And I love Preppies. Out of everything in my collection, the Preppy, but especially this Preppy, the one with the peanut, so cute, is the pen that's always inked. And in all honesty, it doesn't get much use now, especially with me only using red ink. The reason that I bought the Preppy was because I wanted to use carbon black, and I originally used carbon black with this pen, again, just because of the, like, it's a stamp, my signature, and then document ink. Like, I thought those things all go hand in hand, but it stained my pen. I don't know if you can see, like, right here, it's stained, and that really bothers me. So I bought a Preppy so I could use the carbon black cartridges and not get my hands stained either. And I just like the way that they write. I like how easy it is, and if something happened to it, I wouldn't be upset. I would just get another Preppy. So I got this Preppy first. This is the Perpinep, and it's the Preppy and Kaweco collaboration pen. I just thought it was really pretty. I liked this design more than their regular lineup. So this is what I started the Preppy journey with. And then I saw this one. It's so cute. I mean, this is like double what I think Preppies normally cost. Like, if Preppies like $6 or $7, I think I paid like upwards $15 for this one. And again, I would buy it if something happened to this one and they were still selling it, which I don't know if they are. I would just buy it again. I don't need both. I'm not attached to this one. I'm not really attached to this one either. It's just the one I use the most. So I'm gonna keep this one. I'm gonna let go of this one. Okay, so I have one pen in this drawer. Now we're gonna move on to gold nibs. And since we're doing platinum, I'm gonna do my 2 platinum pens. Okay, so platinum. Platinum is actually the first gold nib that I bought. And actually, let me show you. So these 2 pens. This one is the Century 3776. And this one is just the platinum pocket pen. The funny thing is that I actually bought these pens together at the Philly Pen Show last year in 2024, and it was my first gold nib pens. And how quickly have things spiraled since then. Let me tell you about this one. This one, I basically bought it out of pure aesthetics because it has the cute little heart nib, and you can see that we've been through a lot together because there's a crack here. I bought it at the pen show through someone who does nib grinds. So they tuned it for me and they mailed it for me. I'm gonna come back to this pen, but because it was my first gold nib purchase, I didn't want to leave the pen show without a pen. So I bought this one. Oh, I'll come back to that one. But when I bought this pen, it was purely an aesthetic choice. I thought it looked so classy, so cute with the little heart and everything. And when I was buying this pen, at that time, my mindset was more like, if I pay a lot of money for a pen, it'll be smoother, right? And I didn't really understand this concept of feedback. I didn't like this pen initially when I got it. I was a little disappointed. But it is funny because now it's something that I do use often and I look forward to using this pen. And I think I did make a really good choice. Well, I didn't make it. The person guided me into a really good choice because I don't have anything in my collection that's a soft nib. So this pen is a fun pen to play with. And I think that I would have gotten this pen in my journey along the way. I think it's just funny because we've been through a lot together. I don't even know when I got this crack. This pen and we have history. And I just don't see myself ever getting rid of this pen. Now this pen, this is the pen that got me through waiting for this pen to arrive in the mail. This is a vintage pocket pen. I think this pen just has a really cool backstory, as in that the guy who sold this pen, he basically buys it from like lost and found in Japan. So people are like losing their pens in the subway, and then he's kind of just buying them in bulk and then giving them new life, which I think is really cool. This is 14K. This is 14K, and I bought it for $40, which I thought it was a steal. And it is such a smooth writer, and I think it's really, I just think it's really pretty. And it is incredibly beat up. But that's what I really like about this pen. I feel like I like that it's had a life before me. The only thing I don't like about this pen is that it's so hard to clean because you can't really take it apart, right? So I just soak it, and every time I clean this pen, I feel like I see ink that I've never put in there. So it's just like a lot of buildup, a lot of caking in there. It still works great. It really just amazes me each time I use it. But yeah. That's my 2 platinum pens. I only have 2 gold nib pilot pens, and they're both vanishing points. So again, when I got my first platinum pen, I was incredibly let down from this idea that it's not smooth, right? It's not butter on glass. And again, that's completely my fault. So I was doing research and I had learned what feedback was. So I wanted to try another Japanese brand, so I found Pilot. I was originally gonna get a vanishing point that's like they're like 160 or 190. Like they're less than 200, right? So I was like, right, great price point, that's where I'll start. But I didn't fall in love with any of the colors that is in their normal lineup. And then I saw this one. And okay, this one completely blew my budget. But I don't have any regrets. I use this pen quite often. Actually, this is probably my favorite work pen. I do all my notes with this pen, and it's just because it's so easy. You know, I really, really like it. Yeah, this is the special edition marble orange. But yeah, like, no regrets. I really, really like this color. I think it's so pretty, and it fits so well now that I have like a huge love for red pens. Like, it's great. And after I bought that pen, I was like, I never need another vanishing point again. But then last year, Nagasawa came out with their collaboration pen with Pilot, and it's this beautiful gray ombre pen. And the way that I justified this purchase was that it's a Decimo. So it's a completely different pen. And I got it in their fine medium, which is something that they don't offer in their normal lineup. At least what I know from in North America. But this one has a little key. Do you see the little key? It's really, really pretty. I won't lie, I don't use this pen as much as I do the other vanishing point. And I think it's just because fine medium is a little bit too juicy. Even I got this pen in a fine, and even the fine was really juicy. I actually recently got it grind down to an extra fine. And my personal take is that for whatever reason, Pilot pens are super smooth. Even their extra fine and their other lineups are great, except the vanishing point. It has feedback, and I know it's not intentional feedback. So I had this grinded down, and it doesn't have any of that feedback. So I don't know. I would say if you're buying the vanishing point and you're okay with the extra fine feedback, great. If you don't, I would maybe see if you could get it like grinded down by a nib meister or something. You know, that's just my 2 cents. The next pen that I have is a Pilot. I think it's Pilot manufactured. It does look like their Pilot like pen clip, but it's actually from Maruzen, which is, from my knowledge, a department store or like a store in Japan. And I did try to do some research about this pen. This pen was also a gift. I didn't find much. I think I found one Reddit post trying to explain this pen. Maybe it was an Instagram post. But anyway, I found one thing online that was about this pen. So what I know, or what I think I know, is just based off that one person. But it's supposed to be commemorative of the actual building of the store. So it's like a brick red, and it has this like, it's textured. So the cap and the body does feel different. I think like sensation wise, it's like a nice feeling. Like when I write with it, it's great. Like it feels great. I'm pretty sure this is laser engraved, but this is also like a brick design on the nib. I'm pretty sure this is a Pilot. I would assume that this is a Pilot number 10 nib. It's so smooth. It writes great. I always wanted a Pilot 823 just because I hear how amazing that pen is. But I think after having a vac filler, I'm not too crazy about vac fillers. And because I have this beautiful pen, I don't really see the need to buy the 823 anymore. I don't know, but yeah, this pen is great. Love it. Because it's a gift, I also don't see myself letting go of this pen anytime soon. Okay, now I have 4 pens left. They're all from Sailor. I don't know why I ended up with 4 Sailors. I just did, but I think they're all very special to me. They all get used a lot, except for maybe one. So maybe I'll start with that one. This is a Sailor Pro Gear Slim. It's the Shikiori series about like fairy tales. This colorway is called Grateful Crane, and it's the only Sailor fine medium that I have in... Yeah, it's the only fine medium that I have in gold. I think what's interesting is that at this point, this is the only like not touched nibs. The other Sailors that I'm going to show you have all been grinded down in some way. But I think it's just nice to have a pen that I can come back to that's just like uniform and no variation in line. And this pen just came out of the box super smooth. Like, I obviously there is like the feedback that Sailor is known for, but it's definitely less noticeable than the platinum, which I think is like interesting that each company does the feedback differently. But that's it. This is just it's a pen. It doesn't really, I don't have any sentimental value. I just like the color. It was like an impulse buy. But yeah, the next three are more sentimental to me. So this one I got at Stationery Fest. This is the Hachimanjia. Hachimanjia. It has flowers on the nib. I don't really know anything about Hachimanjia, and I think that's the beautiful thing about going to events, conventions, or, you know, Stationery Fest, was you get to experience and see brands that you normally wouldn't. And the reason I got this pen was, at that time I was working at Yoseka and I was working at Stationery Fest, and I had kind of just like given up on the idea of like going to the Stationery Fest myself to get pen grinds done. Like, because, you know, I was busy, I was working. So I was like, you know, it's fine. I'm probably not going to do any pen grinds during the 3 days. Like, it's not a big deal. But Ame, who is an amazing person, amazing artist, basically reached out to Gina from Custom Nib Studios, and Ame booked a nib appointment for me. Which, it was so exciting. It was my first nib appointment, and because I had not anticipated that I would get anything done, like I didn't make any appointments, you know, like I just didn't, there's a lot of things. So Gina had space for me at like 7 o'clock, so I basically went to Stationery Fest and bought a pen, and I just bought this beautiful pink pen. This was definitely an impulse buy in the fact that I needed a pen to grind, and I wanted it to be really special, and I wanted it to be a pen that I liked. So it was crazy because I didn't really ask for a price. I didn't ask for any information. I just kind of bought this pen, and it kind of worked out that I liked it, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, oh, pink pen, let me get it. So it's grinded down by Gina. This is a journaler nib by Gina. It's like their take on like a stub, but it's like more user-friendly. It's not inked right now because I just cleaned it because it was like stained. But I would say this and the Preppy are the two pens in my collection that are always inked, just because I love the way this one writes. It's just special because a lot of people went out of their way to help me get this pen, you know? So I think I felt really lucky, and I felt like, I don't know, it was just emotional. It felt like a nice reward from that event. So yeah, the next two pens I think it's definitely sentimental pens to me, and again, I think that's the theme of this collection, is that I will hold on to anything that means like the slightest thing. So this is the Yoseka Sailor collaboration pen. This one's Home, and this is the pen that I bought like I want to say like the first 2-3 months I started working. I got the Vanishing Point, the marble orange Vanishing Point first, and then obviously while working there I got super into testing pens, and I wanted to know more about pens. And again, for me, like, you can test them, but sometimes you don't really know if it works for you until like you bring it home and you do like a couple of like sessions using it. Like, you don't really know, right? This one I did have to like save up for, but it was really special. It's all the colors that I love. I love creams, I love greens, and it was my first Sailor pen. The funny thing is that this pen was actually, out of the box, it didn't write well. I didn't like using it, which was such a bummer for me because I had paid so much money for it, but then I also didn't want to complain because I worked there. So I just kind of kept it. And I complained later to Gordon, and Gordon brought his mesh micro mesh, and he did little circle 8s and tuned it for me, and then after that worked great. And then recently, earlier this month, when I went to the Philly pen show, May and I both had pen appointments with Gina. And again, I love Gina. Check out Gina. They don't know I exist, but I'm a huge fan of their work. And I think that they are super lovely and super like patient, especially when I came in not really knowing what I wanted. This pen works fine, but I did want something special done to it. So this is a cursive italic, which is boring for people watching because it's basically just a thinner stub. Like this is the journaler is like a medium stub, so there's slight line variation. This one has very slight line variation, but it's interesting enough to keep me happy. But yeah, I think that this pen is like they're special together because I got this when I first started working, and then this was the last pen I bought when I was at Yoseka, and then it was like, you know, I was going to a new chapter in my life, doing something different, so I got the Refresh pen. I know, so sentimental, so sappy. But I think this colorway is beautiful, and then I actually can show you with the Grateful Crane. It's like the similar situation between the Twsbi, where this is like much more blue and this is like a more interesting greenish color. This one was grinded down by Kirk Spear, and it's like I bought this pen. Originally this pen is a medium, but I had it grinded where it would be medium regular, and then when I do a reverse it would be extra fine. And this kind of is like a great pen for me just because I usually have multiple pens inked up in the same color. So when I doodle, or if I do any kind of like, if I want a different pen, this is like a 2-in-1. So that's great. But yeah, that's all the pens that I currently have. I'm gonna just show you all the pens that I'm okay letting go of, which would be the 3 Kawecos, my 3 Twsbis, and then these like stragglers. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you have any pen recommendations for me, let me know. I'm just interested in trying anything new, and if you have a pen that you love, I would be really interested. So yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.